The rain whispered secrets against the skylight of Lena's studio, a soft, steady rhythm that muted the world outside. Inside, the air was warm, carrying the sense of wet clay, bergamot oil, and the faint, clean smell of rain itself. She was at her wheel, her hands slick with gray slurry, coaxing a formless mound into a graceful curve. Her focus was absolute, a meditation in motion. A knock at the heavy studio door broke the spell. She knew it was him. Leo, the art critic who had requested a private viewing of her new ceramic series. He was early. Wiping her hands on a towel, she left muddy streaks on the thick cotton. When she opened the door, the damp evening air rushed in. He stood under a black umbrella, droplets clinging to the wool of his coat. His gaze, usually so analytical in galleries, was different here, softer, immediately drawn past her to the space within. "You found the place," she said, stepping back to let him in. The rain almost beat me to it. He closed the umbrella, his eyes adjusting to the lamplight. They traveled over shelves of bisque-fired pots, glazes and jars, the quiet, creative chaos. "It's like stepping into the process itself," he murmured, "not just the finished product." That was the first thrill, a precise observation that saw more than surface. She offered to take his coat. As he shrugged out of it, his shoulder brushed hers. A simple, accidental touch, but in the intimate confines of the studio, it felt like a deliberate stroke. The air between them seemed to thicken, charged with the potential of the evening. He moved to her work table, where her latest series sat, pieces inspired by the Japanese art of Kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with lacquer, dusted with gold, silver, or platinum. The philosophy that breakage and repair are part of an object's history, not something to disguise. "This one," he said, his voice low, his finger hovering just above a bowl. It had a sharp, deliberate fissure running through it, filled with a resin mixed with fine copper powder. It's not hiding its fracture, it's illuminating it, making it the most beautiful part. Lena stood beside him, close enough to feel the heat radiating from his body. "We are all a collection of repairs," she said, the words leaving her more vulnerable than she intended. His eyes met hers. Yes. The critique, the art talk, fell away. They weren't critic and artist now. They were just Leo and Lena, in a cocoon of rain and golden light. He reached out, not for the bowl, but for her hand. His thumb traced the calluses on her palm, the grooves of clay permanently etched into her skin. "You work with your whole self," he observed. "It's the only way I know." His touch moved to her wrist, tracing the delicate blue vein there. It was an exploration, slow and profound. Every nerve ending in her body aligned to that point of contact. He turned her hand over and pressed his lips to the center of her palm. The kiss was warm, slightly damp, and it sent a current straight to her core, a low, deep pull of desire. She didn't speak. Instead, she guided his hand to the lump of fresh clay on her wheel. She placed her own hands over his, their fingers intertwining, and pressed them into the cool, yielding earth. She turned on the wheel with her foot, and the world began to spin. Together, they shaped the clay. It was an act of profound collaboration. His uncertainty melted under her guidance, their pushes and pulls becoming a silent, fluid dialogue. The clay rose and curved, shaped by the pressure of 4 hands becoming one intention. It was erotic in its purest sense, a creation born of shared focus, trust, and mounting tension. Their breaths synchronized, hers feathering against his neck. He turned his head, and his lips found the sensitive space just below her ear. A shiver racked her body. The wheel slowed as she removed her foot, but the spinning in her head continued. She turned on her stool to face him. His eyes were dark, reflecting the lamplight like pools of honeyed whiskey. There were no more questions. The first kiss was not gentle. It was a release of the tension that had been building since he entered, a claiming and a surrender. The taste of him was of rain and black coffee, grounding and stimulating. Her hands, still gritty with dry clay, framed his face, leaving faint smudges on his jaw. His hands slid up her back, pulling her closer, the damp wool of his sweater rough against her thin cotton shirt. He stood, drawing her up with him, never breaking the kiss. They moved through the studio, a slow, stumbling dance, past shelves of silent witnesses. Her back came to rest against the cool plaster wall near the kiln. His mouth left hers to trail down her throat, each kiss a brand. Her head fell back with a soft thud. Her fingers worked the buttons of his shirt, revealing skin warmer than she'd imagined. She placed her palm flat against his chest, feeling the rapid, strong beat of his heart. This, she thought, is another kind of kintsugi. Not repairing a break, but finding a missing piece you never knew was gone. He pushed her shirt up, his hands mapping the planes of her stomach, her ribs. He rose slowly until his thumbs brushed the undersides of her breasts. A gasp escaped her, swallowed by the rain's steady hymn. He lowered his head, his mouth finding her through the fabric, and the heat of it made her knees buckle. He held her up, an arm solid around her waist. "Leo?" she breathed, a word that was both a question and an answer. In reply, he swept an arm under her knees and lifted her. He carried her to the old, paint-splattered daybed in the corner, used for exhausted naps. He laid her down as if she were one of her own delicate pieces, then followed, his body a welcome weight. Here, time dissolved. there was only sensation. When he entered her, it was with a slow, deliberate certainty that stole her breath. It was not a taking, but a joining. Their rhythm began slowly, a deep, rolling tide. Pressure built, not frantic, but immense and inevitable. She cried out, a sound lost in the crook of his neck as the wave broke, shimmering through every limb. He followed moments after, his own release a muffled groan against her skin. For a long time, they lay entwined, listening to the rain ease to a drizzle. The scent of their passion mingled with the clay and ozone. His fingers traced the copper-bright seam on the repaired bowl she kept on the shelf above the bed. Beautiful, he whispered, his meaning encompassing far more than the pottery. She smiled, curling into him. Outside, the repaired world glistened under the newly revealed moon. Inside, in the warm, messy studio, something whole had been forged from fragments, its seams illuminated, golden, and strong.